call the City Council to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Chase, would you start us off in prayer, please?
Just right here.
All right, God, we just thank you for every single person in this room tonight. God, we ask you that you would just release wisdom and unity into every single person on City Council. And God, we ask you right now that your will would be done in this place. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. Nina, would you please call the roll?
Councilperson Alvarez.
Here.
Councilperson Podgorski.
Here.
Councilperson Geisers.
Here.
Councilperson Clem. Councilperson Williams.
Here.
Councilperson Gully.
Here.
Councilperson Zilli.
Here.
We have the minutes from the August 1st meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We, at this time, are going to be swearing in a new firefighter, so if Michael will come forward, any of the council people who want to stand up here and swear him in with us, fine, we're going forward. Absolutely, the families are invited, all of them, we'll wait until the family. Michael, put your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and say it after me. I, Michael Gimborough,
I, Michael Goodborough,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
that I will support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
the Constitution and the laws of the state of Indiana,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
and that I will faithfully and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
as a member of the City of Portage Fire Department
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
and according to the law,
and according to the law,
so help me God.
so help me God.
We'll do family first and then council. Council wants to come up. Absolutely. Okay. Favor Mike, we'll get the council to come up. Just so you know, we're not doing it. Take a picture.
Hang on. Waiting on Bert. Make sure you get the shoes and the Everybody ready?
The only comment I have is that thank you to Colin, and everyone who worked on the Labor Fest this last weekend. We had a great turnout. Everyone enjoyed themselves. Even though the weather was hot, we had a good time, and we'll do it again next year, and hopefully we'll have a little bit cooler weather. But thank you, Colin, and everybody else who worked so hard on that. I don't have any more announcements. Clerk Treasurer, do you have any announcements?
No, just that continued work for the 2024 budget is still ongoing.
Okay, at this time, we have a proclamation. Brian, are you reading that?
Yes, so. City of Portage, Office of the Mayor, Portage, Indiana, proclamation. To all whom these presents may come, greetings. Whereas recovery from mental and substance use disorders, including co-occurring disorders, is an essential part of health and one's overall wellness, and whereas treatment and recovery services for mental and substance use disorders, co-occurring disorders is effective and people can and do recover in our area and around the nation, and whereas addressing and overcoming mental and substance use disorders and co-occurring disorders is essential to achieving healthy lifestyles, both physically and emotionally, and whereas we must encourage relatives and friends of people with mental and substance use disorders and co-occurring disorders to implement preventative measures, recognize the signs of a problem, and encourage those in need of help to seek appropriate treatment and recovery support services. And whereas the Portage Recovery Association Incorporated, PRA, has offered support for individuals and families since 1993 and strives to enhance the lives of people in recovery and the communities in which they live. And whereas PRA provides a safe, positive environment for individuals and their families in recovery based on the principles of 12-step recovery programs through activities such as meetings, fellowship, educational activities, and social events. And whereas to help more people with lived experience achieve and sustain recovery, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration and the City of Portage invite all residents of Portage to participate in National Recovery Month. Therefore, I, Sue I. Lynch, Mayor of the City of Portage, do hereby proclaim this month of September 2023 as National Recovery Month in the City of Portage, and call upon all residents to observe this month with the appropriate programs, activities, and ceremonies to support this year's Recovery Month theme. Join the Voices for Recovery. Together we are stronger.
Did someone come
Yeah,
up to
Jacob
accept
and the
this?
reps from
Jake,
PRA,
do
if
you
you
want to
guys
come
want
up?
to come up.
Thanks for all you do, guys.
Hey guys, want to let you know that Danielle has 16 years today. Since 16 years today.
And I would like to say, when we were there for the ribbon cutting, just talking and the conversations that I had amongst the people and how their lives have changed. Continue what you're doing. Thank you.
Thanks for all you're doing, yes. Okay, we have reports from standing committees.
Yes,
Budget?
Madam Mayor, the Budget Committee has had several meetings. Our Budget Committee consists of Councilperson Zilli and Councilperson Podgorski. So we have met with the majority of the department heads. We have one more meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. with Community Development. The meetings have gone very well. I've actually turned over some data to the clerk treasurer's office, and I know she's in the process of inputting some of those numbers so we can see how it shakes out based on the discussions and meetings that we've had with the department heads. So we're optimistic, and we will continue working on a budget that hopefully it has to be a balanced budget, and we'll be presenting that in the near future for council review.
Thank you, Scott. Ordinance Committee?
Ordinance Committee did not meet tonight. We did not have anything that was on the agenda, but we have a few things that are coming up next month, so we'll be back at it before the council meeting in October, 5 p.m. here in council chambers.
Thank you, Brian. Reports from city officials. Chief Wilkening?
Evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing us to swear in our new member. It's always a fun night to watch somebody who's brand new in their career starting off, especially for us old guys. Hopefully, in the next couple of months, we'll have quite a few more for you. So for last month, we were up a little bit from the month before. We had 508 total calls, 356 for EMS. We actually had 4 structure fires, so it was a little bit busy for us as far as that goes. And we only had 3 mutual aid calls come into the city. So that gives us 3705 total for calls, 2648 ambulance, 21 fires. And then we've only had 52 mutual aid calls come into the city. Last year at this time, we were at 207. So definitely better. And then I even wrote in here, I'm happy to say that our rescue water calls went down, and then as I was leaving today, we had a water rescue call. So fortunately, it was a false alarm. However, our neighbors to the west, between East Chicago and actual Chicago, the last 2 days, they had 4 drownings. So the lake is still unforgiving. Fortunately, we haven't had to deal with some of it, but it's, especially now, the cooler weather's coming in. Again, that lake is still dangerous. So when they tell you don't go in it, don't go in it. As far as personnel go, we were able to offer 5 people positions, and we've sent them for their physicals. And fortunately, we are still on track to send them to the academy on September 18th. So that's when they'll be starting. So that's a good thing for us. The unfortunate thing is we did have a resignation last month. Richard Trapeshaw, he's a 5-year veteran, resigned, and he took a lowly position in the Florida Keys as a firefighter. So I don't know why he would have left for that. Yes, but we will miss him. He was a fun firefighter and a good paramedic. So we'll miss him. We were fortunate enough to get somebody else on our list, so we have offered them a position, and they're scheduled to go down for their physical soon. So he's a firefighter, EMT, so he'll be able just to come in and take a spot for the time being. We do have still 1 person off on workman's comp. Our vehicle status, we did get the engine that we were waiting for back. So again, we still have our minor problems, but we're still working on those. Unfortunately, with this hot spell, it took a toll on our air conditioners on the ambulance, and we had several ambulances go down at the same time. So we were fortunate enough if you see a South Haven ambulance running around the city right now, they were kind enough to loan us one. We do pretty good working with each other whenever somebody needs something, but we do have the problems diagnosed. We're just waiting for parts. Again, you know how that goes. We are also this week starting our annual pump and ladder testing. So if you see the engines out pumping water in a bunch, we bring UL out every year, and they test all of our pumps to make sure they're in line, and then also the ladders to make sure they test them for stress and not to fail. As far as our grants go, we're still waiting on the federal government. So the good news is they haven't told us that we are out. So there's always that. And then hopefully, I'm not in a position right now to explain the whole thing, but there was a whole North County-wide grant that we went through NERC with that was awarded. And it's called emergency vehicle preemptors, and those are the devices that change the lights when emergency vehicles are going through. It's a much safer process, so that way the intersections are clear and everybody still stays safe and we can get people to emergencies a little bit quicker and safer. So that we were awarded that. It's still in the preliminary stage. It probably won't be in fruition until 2025, but we are starting to make headway, and I'll give you more of an update on that. But that'll be with us and the police department, so.
How many, where are we putting those in the city? Do we know that yet? Are
Every
they gonna be intersection?
every traffic light.
Does that include 6 and 20? Or are those just state controlled, so we won't be able to?
No, they're all of them.
Okay.
And then what's nice is that Lake County has already gotten this grant, so like the intersection of County Line and 130 already has it in there. And they all function off of the same thing. And it's GPS, it's not line of sight. So it anticipates your route. And yeah, we listed every light that we have in the city. So, and then that's nice too, because Liberty Township is also into the grant, so our ambulances will be able to activate all the lights all the way to the hospital that way, and also through Hobart. As far as training goes, our dive team, they had their week-long this week, or last week, and they did some really good training with the U.S. Coast Guard, building relationships with them. The officer in charge of the Coast Guard now is very willing to work with outside agencies, so it's a big help in having everybody together on one page. We've also done our normal training, plus we've had a large number of students, which is good for us in our exposure. I think it definitely helps because we've had EMT students, paramedic students, vocational high school students all coming through. We've been able to show them what Portage has, what Portage can offer, and I believe it's helping with our recruiting. We've also done some CPR classes for the high school employees, the high school administration and teachers, so we continue to do all of that. As far as our community involvement for last month, we did do the standby for the PD agility test. We've also been doing standbys for the high school games. We also participated in the National Night Out and the Touch a Truck for the Salute for Labor. We were also requested by the Boys and Girls Back to School event, so we were out there and they interacted with the kids. And then we also had the Isaac Walton League that we sent a vehicle out there and they were able to talk to the kids and teach them a little bit of safety and things like that. The last thing I want to do is talk about a job well done. Some of you may have seen our Facebook post yesterday about a little puppy that wandered into Station 2. He was hot, thirsty, and so our crews took care of him, and they were able to help him out, and I'm happy to say his owner came and picked him up, didn't realize that he had snuck out, or she, that's right, she? Minnie, yeah. Yeah, Minnie. So some of the guys that helped out were right there. They even gave her a bath and cleaned her up, and so, and then hopefully in the near future too, they are working on protocols for canines for police canines and the care of that, and we're actually working up some protocols and things like that to actually have definitive medical care for the canines in case something happens to them. So things are going well. So any questions?
Randy, did you still, but Sarah nursed some of the nurses that were writing, or no?
Yeah, in the past few months, the nurses from Northwest Health in the emergency room, the newer ones have ridden with us just so they can kind of see what it's like in the field. So sometimes you tell them what happened in the field and what the patient tells them once they get in isn't really true, and now they can see how we weren't lying to them. All right, thanks.
Thanks, Randy. Superintendent Reeder.
Well, as I get this thing warmed up here, let's see if this thing works. Oh, there we go. So it's amazing how busy we get into the street department. We had 1,272 drive-ins into the department, either dropping off grass clippings, limbs, picking up compost, or some bulk items. But it's been a busy month. For the month of August. Also, we ended our mosquito abatement program. A lot of the residents don't understand what that entails. So at the beginning of the season, probably about beginning of April, we start dropping a 6-month briquette, we call it, into the storm inlets. And a lot of the mosquitoes thrive in those standing waters, and that really helps us out. And there, we've got about 3,000 of them throughout the city that we do. So that's a key component in our treatment for mosquitoes. And then during the summer months, or during the summer, what we do is we have 2 employees come in at night, and depending on the weather, it has to be perfect. It's got to be warmer than 60, less than 10 degrees, because we don't want drifting on our material that we're treating. And then the next thing is no chance of rain. So weather did somewhat put a damper in that, but I think overall, I've not gotten any mosquito complaints at all throughout the city. So I think our mosquito program, the abatement was really well. So
I think the program's working well.
So we ended that in August. We're gearing up for leaf season, and I'm hoping that the leaf fairy takes them all away, but I don't think that's going to happen. So, but we got all our equipment in line and ready to go. So, yeah, we are the leaf fairy. So I did enclose within the email that I sent you a document regarding our leaf policy. So if anyone asks, you could easily email that in a PDF or a JPEG form. So don't forget, this Saturday down at the street department, we're hosting the citywide public auction. So there is a number of vehicles and also bicycles that are going to be down there. It's going to be kind of small, but that starts, you could view all the items from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., and then it starts at 10 a.m. And I did send a link, and I also posted it on our Facebook page on the street page there. So I got a 3-minute video here to show everyone. It's from Drive Clean, Indiana. We spent a few weeks making this. Well, they made it, but you'll see what the C&G entails and what Drive Clean Indiana has done for our municipality, but not only for our city, but other cities across the region. So I'm going to start that.
The city of Portage is very committed to being a sustainable green city. The transition to CNG trucks for our city allows us to be sustainable, and it allows us to save additional dollars on our budget. Our goal is to have our complete fleet in the sanitation department totally green by 2028. Our partnership with Drive Clean Indiana is so valuable because they have helped us get the grants that we're getting to get this equipment into our city. We are going to be able to have a total green fleet because of their efforts.
My name is Randy Reeder. I'm the superintendent of streets and sanitation, and a few years ago we reached out to Ryan Lissick, who worked for Drive Clean Indiana, and seen some of the grant opportunities that were out there. And one of the grant opportunities that we found was the Volkswagen litigation grant, and that allowed us to get about 7 trucks, which we've already received 5, and in about a couple weeks we're going to be receiving 2 more.
These trucks get a lot of idle time on the route, and the CNG does accommodate that better than diesel. The burn rate is a lot better at idle, so our fuel does last us longer on our routes than what we ever could have anticipated.
Best Equipment is completely dedicated and partnering with Drive Clean Indiana. They have been a very important aspect of the business for Best Equipment, as well as their partnerships with all of the cities. It brings together the dealer, the cleaner initiatives, and the cities all into one for the greater good. And we very much appreciate Drive Clean Indiana, Ryan Lissick, Carl, and his crew.
The city of Portage is currently dumping off at the transfer station, and they drive 0.5 miles away to go and fill up over at Ozinga Energy. And this has been a great relationship because Ozinga Energy's natural gas is sourced from renewable methane from a landfill in Texas. And this is one of the cleanest burning fuels that is available for heavy-duty trucks like these 7 garbage trucks. Without the leadership of Randy and Reeder, we would have not been able to have this project be successful. This is a huge win that can be repeated in cities across the country.
The quality of life is better when you have these kinds of equipment running in your city. So I am hoping that ultimately we continue to work with Drive Clean Indiana to get our entire fleet, not only for our sanitation department, but for our other departments as well. It's very important that we make that switch to clean fuels. They're very clean burning, they're great for the environment, and they're great for the quality of life of our city. To clean fuels. They're very clean burning, they're great for the environment, and they're great for the quality of life of our city.
All right.
Thank you, good job.
So I just want to thank our department, some key employees within our department that spec'd out these vehicles and their help in getting some of these. I'd like to thank the city council, the mayor, the clerk's office. So there's a lot more work to be done in CNG. A lot of people don't understand how clean CNG is compared to the diesel molecule. It's got 14 carbons of pollution almost, but the CNG has 2 carbons. So that's how cleaner CNG is. We had a great time Saturday as kids approached our vehicles and climbed throughout the trucks. They loved the horn. But one of the unique things about the CNG truck was I had an opportunity to communicate that with the public. And that's the same fuel that operates that truck. It's the same fuel that heats our home, gives us hot water, cooks our food. And that's just amazing. It truly is amazing. So this is definitely a step to a quality of life in our employees and for our city community. So, any questions?
Randy, how close are we to the fueling station being at the street department?
Oh, right now that's within the NOFA grant. So there's about $750,000 set aside for that particular fuel station.
And I think this just goes to show everybody when you partner with the various entities, Drive Clean Indiana, as a member of the NERC board, the NOFA monies are coming through to us. So it's vitally important that we keep connecting as partners because it brings new money into the city and allows us to have things like a green fleet. And I was out standing by one of the clock trucks one day and I was amazed. I mean, they're so quiet. It's just a great asset to the city. So thanks, Randy, for all your hard work on working with Ryan on this and Drive Clean Indiana. Deb and I went to their conference last week, and it's amazing that the things that they're doing.
For the station, about September or October of next year.
Okay, and you may not have this number in front of you, but how much has the total project cost versus what we've had to pay because they've been grant funded? Do you have that?
That I do not have. I don't have those accurate numbers in front of me.
Okay. It's all these have been 80-20 though, right? 80-20 matches?
The Volkswagen litigation grant is a 20-80 or 25-75. So the city's responsible for 75%, and the 25% comes from the Volkswagen litigation grant. That's a private grant. The NOFA grant is an 80-20. So the federal government covers 80, and the city covers 20.
But Randy, there's also potential for more Volkswagen money that could offset that, right?
Yes, we are applying for a 4th round in the Volkswagen grant.
Yes, originally the Volkswagen was 3 years, and they added a year onto it, which was very beneficial to us.
That's correct, Mayor.
Thanks, Randy.
And thank you for naming each of those trucks, if you want to mention the names.
Oh, yes. The one truck that we had down at the Saturday was Oscar's New Can. So we have a list of other trucks that we're naming, and that's all done through the 4th and 5th graders of our city. So they came up with those names. So.
Tracy, tell us about the plant.
Good evening. So there's not a lot going on. The important thing is we're gearing towards the SRF, everything for closing to do the clarifiers, the solar, and the screen by Thanksgiving is when we want to close on the loan. So we've been working with having meetings and doing different stuff on that right now. So that's been keeping us busy. We also finished the hydraulic model, well, the hydraulic modeling will start now. The flow metering has finished as of the end of August. We did have 29 rain events that we captured. It's about 5 or 6 major rain events, so we're going to have some really good data from that to tell us how the lines are out in the system. Besides that, everything else is going really well. The clarifiers are still running well. The guys are working hard at the plant. This is about the slower season for us because we don't have as much rain, that kind of stuff. So everything's going really good. Any
So Tracy,
questions?
if they award us the clarifier grant and the solar, is that expected by the end of the year, and then we won't start on those till the 1st of next year?
Exactly. We will see the money as of, we'll close at the end of November, so before Thanksgiving. But we will not start working on them until about spring, is when we'll start working on that. We're doing the engineering part and all of the meetings and the hard part. We won't have the physical construction started till then. Any
Thanks,
other
Tracy.
questions?
It's good news for our plant. We've neglected it for a long time.
Oh,
So I'm really excited to see those clarifiers. For everybody, those clarifiers are 43 years old and never been replaced.
Yeah.
So we're kind of treading on thin ice with them, so, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, our maintenance crew has done an amazing job keeping them alive for this long. So, thank you.
Thanks, Tracy. Connor, do you have a report from the Youth Commission?
Sure, it'll be brief as always, but sure. So last month, the commission came together, we voted to elect all of our new officials. So I'm now the chair of the youth commission, so we have a whole new board.
Can you speak louder?
Oh, I'm sorry. I always forget that. But I messed it all up, as I always do. But last month we elected a new board, so we had a lot of the newer ones step up to run, which is what we like to see. We met last week, and we're hoping to, in the next month, come together again and possibly put together a plan for a new fundraiser here coming up soon. And one of the, hopefully, the new pet statues that are decorated all around the city. And that's about all I have.
Thank you, Connor.
Unless anybody's got any questions.
Does anybody have a question for Connor? Okay,
All right, thank you, guys.
thank you. Attorney Witten, do you have anything to report?
I do not.
Thank you. Okay, I see we have no unfinished business, no new business, so introduction and adoption of ordinances, nothing. So do we have any petitions or remonstrances by the public? If so, please come forward, give your name and address, and speak into the microphone up there.
Good evening. I have never been to a meeting before, and I live in Capital Estates. I was curious why Portage Avenue eastbound is shut down for all this time, and they aren't doing any work on that lane of traffic, and they're screwing up traffic for everybody in Capital Estates. They have to drive around, all around to try to get to their houses. And it was almost 2 weeks before I saw any workers down towards closer to Hamstrom. And just the other day, riding my bike, I'm sitting at the stop sign at Hamstrom and Portage Avenue. And this guy in front of me, now I'm headed west. I'm on my bicycle, going to the bike trail. He flashes his light and honks his horn, and he's, waving at me. to get the hell out of the way so he can drive east in the westbound lanes. You know, it's all messed up there. And please don't tell me you're putting new curbs in, because they aren't curbs, whatever they're doing. You know, it's just a flat piece of concrete. You know, the curb's something is to deflect it or to push, you know, something away. And if that's a curb, you're gonna have all this water when we have big storms going in people's yards, possibly flooding. You know, it's just a big mess down there.
So would you please give us your name and phone number so we can call you and someone from community development can speak with you directly?
I could give it to you, not over the microphone or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
just-
I've talked to other people, you know, even the mail department. They weren't even told that they were going to have to do this. I talked to a couple mailmen. They have to get out at every house and get out and put the mail into the mailbox on the south side of Portage Avenue. And these people, you know, it was 2 weeks before I saw anybody come down towards this end of Portage Avenue, towards Hamstrom, to do any work. You know, and you're disrupting traffic, you're just making more traffic on Samuelson on the one-lane bridge, and people are coming down Portage Avenue thinking that it's their turn to drive in the wrong direction of traffic. It's ridiculous.
Well, we'll speak to somebody, but I do want to say in favor of it, it's the biggest piece of road we're doing this year.
Well-
Portage Avenue is 2 miles long, and we're spending a lot of paving money on there. We're putting in new handicap curbs, and so
Well,
I will get some
they aren't
answers
curbs.
for you.
They are not curbs.
Well, at the intersections where the sidewalk
Well, the
ends,
intersections, yeah, but.
we have to
you're-
make it ADA compliant.
You know.
Some
no,
of
that's-
those curbs may be called ribbon curbs, and there's a reason that they have to put them in. So I really, in order to give you a really good response, I need your name and number, and we will contact you
Yeah,
and
I'll
explain
give
that
it to you, but I don't want to send it out to everybody to
Oh, no.
know who
no,
I
no.
am,
Absolutely
you know,
not.
or
We'll
where
get
I
you-
live.
Yeah,
But it's
we'll get it
ridiculous.
after the meeting.
I mean, it's
Just
nuts.
don't take off. Just stick around for a little bit, okay?
So just to be clear, we're paving the entire road
paving the
from Willow
entire
Creek to
road.
McCool.
Well-
It's 2
So
miles
it's a,
long.
I have yet to see that, you know, they're still working on the curbs.
yeah,
you
they're
know.
doing the handicap accessible
Yeah, but there's-
intersections,
Yeah,
and
but
then the ribbon
from the
curbing, and then they'll come through and
intersections
pave it.
out, there are no curbs.
Well, no, it's ribbon curbing. So if you look down Hamstrom, when we paved
Yeah.
last year, that's what they're doing here. It's to hold the roadway together, if I'm correct, right, Scott? We talked about this last year.
If you look up the definition of curb, it's to deflect or,
Correct.
you know,
It's,
leave stuff away. And you aren't going to do that with any of this water or
It's-
someone on a bicycle or something. They're going to go right up into someone's yard.
correct. This
or a
is what we
car.
put in where there's no stormwater infrastructure.
Yeah.
So it doesn't flow the water into one area. It flows it off into the easements.
Yeah, we'll see. if that
Along
happens.
Hamstrom, for example, and it's been very successful along Hamstrom.
I'm sure we can get you the answers, and these are good questions.
Well.
So just
it's
be
not
patient,
for
and we'll
me,
get
it's
your name.
everybody over
Sir,
there.
we'll
You know,
get-
I've
if you-
never been to a meeting like this, so I don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Well, thank you
I'm
for.
certainly not
Thank you for
happy
being
with it.
here, and we'll get your
you
name
know.
and phone number.
And I don't know if anybody has to go that way to get home.
I travel that way.
All
I
right,
live
well,
in
then, you know, you have to go all around and, you know,
I am someone that
Samuelson,
lives on
that
Portage
one-way
Ave.
bridge, that's one big mess. You know, and then you get people that want to go and, you know, you're fighting, you're butting heads with other cars because they're in such a damn hurry. You know, and then you get these people driving down Portage Avenue the wrong way, going east in the westbound traffic lanes. You know, I even talked to a couple of the officers at this party thing you had the other night here behind the cop shop. You know, they didn't like it. I go, you got a badge and rollers. You can go down there anytime you want. He goes, well, it's not that easy. I said, oh, don't give me that crap.
But I think the alternative, though, would be shutting down the whole section of the roadway to do the project, and then the
Well, yeah.
roadway would be, I'm not
You
trying
can
to
go
be
from
confrontational, I'm
block
just
to
saying.
block.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we would be shutting down entire sections, which is harder for police and fire to get to areas, to
Well-
have to detour around, so this this is one of the biggest paving projects we've done ever,
Well,
where
I
we've
mean,
had to do that this
You know,
way.
for
The last one.
Like I say, almost 2 weeks, I didn't see anybody from they were always down at Samuelson or on the other side of Samuelson working, and they had it all shut down for almost 2 weeks before I even saw a worker. I saw them come and use the porta potty, and that was it.
So we have an update meeting with the contractors this week. So like I said, please leave your name and number and we will call you and let you know what's going on. But it is a huge project. It's probably one of the biggest ones we've done. And it will be wonderful once it's done. So people need to try to be a little patient with it, but we will get you some answers. We have an update meeting this week.
Even with the school buses, they have a hard time trying to turn on those streets because, you know, you got these workers, they're parking in front of everybody's houses in their own personal cars. You know, I asked for these guys, they were in there, you know, whooping it up and having some Gatorades or whatever. I go, are you gonna get this done before the snow flies? You know, jokingly, you know, and they all had smart-ass comments for me, which was to be expected. But, you know, not a happy camper, and I
So
don't
be
think
sure you leave your name
I
and
will.
number and
I
we
will.
will update you with what's going on.
And I don't believe other people in capital estates are too happy about it either. You know, it just makes it so difficult to get around, you know, to make a little trip to go into town or something like that, you gotta go all the way around and come back around, you know?
I mean, I will
know-
say, we're spending, what is this, $1 million on this
Almost
project?
two.
I mean, it's a very
We're spending
difficult.
all of our community
Right.
crossings dollars this year on that one road because it was so bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's an inconvenience, no one's denying that.
No, but you could have done it in sections, and I know with the fire and all that, you can
Right.
get around it. Look what you did, how you did Stone Avenue.
Well, we did Stone Avenue the opposite way,
Well,
and then
at
the
least they
strike
could get
delayed
through.
it.
It wasn't
and- Right.
the best of roadways, but you could get through, you know.
Once it's paved, though,
Well,
gonna
yeah,
love
It'll
yeah,
be a
once it's
beautiful
done,
roadway
yeah, oh,
for the
yeah,
next
it's
20
good.
years.
Yeah, once they get
Yeah.
294 done in the Borman, then they start tearing it up again. You know, oh yeah, it was good for 2 weeks, you got it finally done, but let's get these guys working again. Let's tear something up. You know,
So
it's the
just leave
same
your
old
name and
cycle.
number and we'll get back with you and I'm sorry you're being inconvenienced right now.
It's not just me, it's everybody else too.
Is there anybody else who would like to present anything to the council? Please state your name and your address.
My name is Don Pavey, 662 North, 625 West, Hobart, Indiana, in Portage Township. Hello, most of you don't know me. I just stated my name. I've been up here before. Last council meeting, I apologize, I actually had to work. I was only here for part of it. But the reason I'm here today is because the Planning Commission recommended that the Bauer Farm be zoned R1. You, the City Council, overrode that recommendation and made it an R4. On July 6th, I sent an email with the questions that the mayor asked me to send. I never got a response to that email or those questions. I would kind of like that. It would answer a lot, but I already know most of the answers now anyway. After that meeting, Councilman Zilli, we talked about the plat map. And you told me there were paired patio homes going on that plat map.
That is what they proposed, correct? I believe
Okay.
in the back portion.
So R4 is designed for single-family homes. It's not designed for paired patio homes. That's an M1 to M3
I'm sorry,
multi.
I believe, was it cottage homes that they were, I'm sorry, it was cottage homes that they were
Okay.
proposing.
Oh, that's totally
Sorry,
different.
yeah,
Okay,
sorry.
there's a different
Yeah, they were,
classification for that.
yeah, they were cottage homes.
The subdivision across the street is R2. All the property around the parcel are very large lots or have acreage. It's in the wrong spot. I've said that before, and I'll say it again. So I'm here because I don't know any other way to do it. I contacted Councilor Witten about getting a RCO, which is a change order request, a request change order, and the person who put me in touch with said there's no documentation for me to do that with you guys. So I have a paper here. I'm officially asking the council to review their decision on the R4, make it an R1 if you have to make it a subdivision, do the right thing to bring up the value of Portage. Don't devalue it for a developer, and that's what's happening. So that's, I guess, an official request, the only way I know how to do it. I know I'm not I'm getting used to these meetings, obviously, but I try to look online for procedures and what to do and how to do it. This is what I came up with on my own. But I would like to officially request that you guys review that, reassess it, and make it what it's supposed to be. R4 is for inner city subdivision. That is the furthest spot away from the city. There will be no more development there, it's landlocked by all the surrounding houses and property. So that is not the spot for it. By definition and by logic, that is not the spot for that type of subdivision. So that's what I'm asking. Like I said, just if my questions could be answered in an email, I'd appreciate that from the one I sent from July 6th. And that's all I have unless you guys have any questions.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, and one more thing. If you don't, how do I say it? If you don't want to change it, would you give the planning commission the authority to change it? Because I'm going to them tomorrow. Would they have the authority to change the subdivision type, or would you override it again?
They don't.
They don't have but they're the ones that are supposed to set it. From everything I read online, the planning commission sets the zones, the type of subdivision.
They don't have the authority to do that.
Okay, okay. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who has anything they would like to bring before the council? Is there any other matters to be considered by the council?
I just have an announcement. Oh.
So, after having discussions with members of the Port Authority, it's an exciting time at the Portage Port Authority. The Port Authority is currently in the process of receiving a grant in the amount of $1.4 million from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife that would go towards transformational projects to the marina, such as a handicap accessible fishing pier, a fish cleaning station, and upgrades to the parking lot. As I said, it's a transformational project for the marina. An investment of over $1 million is the most that has been invested into the marina since its inception. The Port Authority is requesting, or will be requesting, the amount of $350,000 in ARPA funds to serve as a matching source of funding for the project. And the members of the Port Authority will be contacting the council in the months and meetings to come to present to us more figures, more diagrams, and we look forward to having that dialogue with them. So I just wanted to bring that up, and thank you.
Thank you, Ferdinand. That's good news that the port is really working hard to transform themselves. It's been a long time. The port has just kind of sat there, so you'll have to address that with the council, the rest of the council. Okay, is there, Deb, you had an announcement.
So this is kind of outside of the council. So this is just some information, and it's a good thing. The Exchange and Kiwanis Clubs of Portage, I'm a part of Exchange. I have several people that are a part of Kiwanis. For the first time last year, did a appreciation dinner for our veterans, and we are doing it again this year. It's going to be on November the 4th. This is a free dinner celebration to any veteran. Their guests will pay $25, but any veteran is completely free. We just ask that they register with us, and we always get sponsorships. There's always a nice gift that we give. We have the Wolfgang group out of Hobart High School that comes and entertains. We have a guest speaker. We have several guest speakers, and it's just, we have a very nice dinner and desserts to die for. And some people would probably rather just do dessert instead of dinner because they're that good. So I want to get the word out. It is on either the Exchange Club's Facebook page or Kiwanis Club's Facebook page. So any veteran, get it out there. If there are any here that want to register, just come and see me afterwards. I'll get you on the list. But this is just a really awesome night to show our veterans our appreciation. Last year we had about 200 people, and this year we'd like to do more. So I just wanted to let everybody know that.
What was the date again, please?
November the
Thank you.
4th from 5 to 8 at Woodland Park.
So do any other council members have anything to bring up?
Yeah, Mayor, I just want to mention, Chief Candiano couldn't be here tonight because he's not feeling well, but he wanted to make sure we mentioned the retirement of Detective Myers. He said he's got 41 years of service, which he said is the longest tenured police officer that Portage has ever had. So it's quite an accomplishment. I know my dad did over 30 years. It's a hard job that wears on you, and so 41 years is quite an accomplishment.
And also to the council, our superintendent, Diane Lito, is not here tonight. She lost her father over the weekend, so please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. Is there anything else council members would like to bring up? Clerk Treasurer, do you have anything to bring up? Okay, at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.